Welcome to Scott Bryson Beyond the Service. Hope you're doing well. Tonight, we're going to do a little storytelling. We're going to talk about safety tips. I'm actually going to tell on myself a little bit here because that's what we do. If I call balls and strikes on everybody else, I'm going to call them on myself as well. So this is an old story that happened to our family in probably 2009. We had just moved to London. I'm halfway through my Secret Service career. I'm hitting on all cylinders. I'm still young and in my prime, and just relocated my family across the pond, and we're living in London. My wife and 3 kids, all grade school, I think, at that time. I think grade school at the time. And we went out in downtown London like normal tourists, even though we weren't really tourists. We were living there, but because we hadn't really lived there yet for very long, and we were definitely still American, we were out doing our shopping and enjoying the city, and just being Americans, right? Or sort of sticking out like a sore thumb, which is ironic because we were trying not to. But what happened, we'd gone to this one toy store called Hamleys, big toy store over there, and trying to be the good protector, very crowded downtown. I'm like, I'm going to lead the way, kind of like in football. Old school fullback would lead the way for the tailback, right, or the halfback. Well, my wife had I guess she probably had the oldest one by his hand, and I probably had the 2 little ones with me. I don't remember, but we were all kind of bunched up together doing our thing. But I was sort of leading the pack because it was crowded and we had to get through the crowd, try to make a whole. Well, what I should have done is I should have been walking behind everybody like I did when I was with Eric Trump. I never walked in front of him, so I should have known better. But as the detail leader, you're always walking behind the person. And, a reaction, as you know, is always much slower than an action. But it is what it is. That's how you work protection. And so I was trying to work protection on my family, but doing a little bit different way, right? So I was kind of leading the pack. And we'd gone to Hamleys, and I think we were going to McDonald's or something to get a snack. It was late at night. It was dark. It was late, getting late. And we got over there, and my wife, I think she had a camera bag or some type of backpack on, which, she probably should have had it on her chest, but she had it on her back and had her wallet in the outside zipper. So note to self, people, don't ever put your wallet or your money or your ID on your outside zipper. Put it in an inside zipper. But anyway, we were young and somewhat naive, I guess, even though I didn't think I was. Somebody obviously had been watching us, and when we were walking through the crowd, she had gotten pickpocketed, and we got to McDonald's to pay for food. She's like, oh my gosh, my wallet's gone. So, of course, had to go through all the steps of, turning everything off and shutting everything down, which we did right away, obviously. But it's still, the pain in the butt to lose your driver's license, to lose your credit cards, to lose your embassy pass. I don't know about passport. Probably didn't have a passport with her, but it was a learning curve for us. So no matter, I think the point I'm trying to make is, no matter how security conscious you are and how security minded you are, things still happen. Thankfully that was petty theft and it wasn't a big deal. It was a pickpocket situation, and that's, it was aggravating and it was a little embarrassing. I had to call my boss and say, hey, I need a new embassy pass for my wife, and shut the other one off so some ding dong didn't get access into the embassy, of course. But, the point, I guess, that I'm really trying to drive home to you guys tonight is simply this. Like I was a paid professional that got paid to worry, got paid to see the glass half empty, and thought I was doing the right thing. But the lesson learned, I should have been behind them, not in front. So, in big crowds, it's a little different, right? Especially when you're with your family and you're on foreign soil. You don't have really any authority. You don't have a gun. You don't have any way to really defend yourself other than whatever skill set you bring to the table. So yeah, I'm sharing that. It's kind of a lighthearted, laughable moment that we can talk about all these 16 or so years later. But I share that with. I don't think I've ever really told many people that story because it's not something you really think about that much. But if I'm going to get on here and do my videos, whether it's on here on YouTube or in a longer format like we're doing now, or these short videos that I do on Instagram and TikTok where I talk about safety tips, I got to call myself out too because it happened, and hopefully you can learn from that. We learned from it. It didn't happen again. It happened one time. Once is enough. So another thing that happened was my wife had gone to the ATM on a Saturday morning to get some cash out, and somebody had put a skimming device on the machine, which she didn't know it, obviously, until she had put her card in the machine and then tried to get money out, and the machine didn't give her money. And of course, it kept the card. And as soon as she walked off, flustered, thinking that the bank machine took her card, of course, the skimmer walked up and took the device off the machine. And I think they took like $2,500 out of the account, and we were able to stop it and get the money back. But again, aggravating. And the thing is on that one, I mean, the first one, the pickpocket thing, that was probably on both of us. I'll take the brunt of I'll take the blame for that one. I mean, I was the Secret Service agent trying to protect my family. So I'll take the blame for that one. And I don't really think the second one was her fault really at all either. I mean, it was a skimming device on a machine that you can't really see. The point is, bad guys are always trying to find an easy way to make money, and you have to make yourself a hard target. Now, how do you do that? Well, we've talked about this numerous times. You pay attention to detail. Now, back in the day, we had cell phones, of course, but the technology wasn't what it is today. Like, I think I had a BlackBerry. So, I mean, it was for email and texting a little bit and phone calls, but it wasn't like what we have now. Like, the cell phones are these smartphones are just so distracting. So you have to put those bad boys up. But even though we didn't have those distractions back then, just life itself, like, it's called Murphy. I love to talk about Murphy. He's a real SOB. What can go wrong will go wrong, right? I mean, he's always after us. In the police world, we jokingly say that, a cop could get shot in the big toe and die, and you could put 2 or 3 rounds center mass in a bad guy and he would live. I mean, it's just the way it is. I mean, that's obviously not true, but they just have the best luck sometimes, it seems like, and can't really explain that. But we have to just pay attention. We have to make ourselves hard targets, whether that's physically, appearing to be a hard target in terms of being physically fit and being of sound mind and paying attention. So even though you might not be Dwayne Johnson walking around the streets of London, which is fine, but you can be situationally aware and tuned in upstairs. And some of my military friends call it being switched on. So you can just be switched on, right? And be in condition yellow. Don't be in white, which I don't really think we were in condition white that night. That's what's really aggravating, is to be, hyper vigilant and really paying attention to all my surroundings, and it still happens. So the bottom line is things still happen, right? And so thankfully it was a pickpocket situation and not a kidnapping. So a lot of times, these people that are doing nefarious acts, sometimes it's about money, like we experience. Sometimes it's way worse. It's about taking your child, and you have got to pay attention. We did a really good job of that. My wife in particular was like a hawk and watched those babies, like there's no tomorrow, because it only takes a second. It really, really only takes a second. We'll do another video on that later about child safety and things like that. But I just wanted to share a quick little funny story that happened to us that was a life lesson for us. We learned from our mistake. Hopefully you can too. I'm a firm believer in learning from our mistakes and learning from the mistakes of others. Otherwise, it's just a wasted opportunity. So hope you can enjoy a laugh at my expense, and hopefully it helps you.